Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Synergen Leadership Podcast. Look, in today's episode, I speak with Amanda O'Brien, who is the CEO of a company called Xtreme Freight and is also the chairperson of the Supply Chain and Logistics Association of Australia. And look, I think the interview is interesting because Amanda does share a little bit about her challenges when she first came into the business and turning it around, and importantly, how she views leadership. And in a couple of times, she actually turns the table on me and asks me a couple of questions as well. So it's a bit of an interesting first interview, and just putting it out there, my interview skills probably not where they need to be yet, but stick with us, we'll only get better. So happy listening, and really looking forward to hearing back what you think.
Welcome to the Synergen Leadership Podcast with Julian Carl. Julian speaks with leaders from around Australia to bring you their leadership story and share their insights about being a leader. To further help you build your leadership capability, Julian shares his own insights about leadership and the tools and techniques he uses as a leader.
So tell me a bit more about Xtreme Freight.
Xtreme Freight is an agile, innovative, fabulous, passionate company that has absolutely come from the ashes. So it was a company that obviously was bought over, but it was losing about 800,000 a year. It was very small at that stage, and it needed a really good person like myself to come in and think, you know what, I can really give this a damn good go. So I had project management, lots of benchmarking, statistical, financial backgrounds,
Right, okay.
and also customer service. So. And marketing. So I had a whole lot of skills, and I thought, right, this transport industry needs a shake-up, so I'm going to come in and shake it up. So I actually was brought in to sort of look at the books and see, whether we'd fold and I thought, you know what, I think it's time that I just started to say. So, it sounds ridiculous now. I don't even think people would be mad enough to do it. But hadn't really been involved in the day-to-day running of operations and things like that, but had a steep learning curve, loved the people.
Yep.
Customers gave me a chance.
Yeah.
I just virtually asked.
Yeah.
And, it started from there. So I can't say that all these years later I spent many a weekend in container parks and spent many a day in containers. So, walked the talk and just learnt from other people, and those networks grew. I took risks, huge risks, brought project specialists in to help me through some of those times.
Sure.
And the networks over those years have grown. So it's good. It's an evolving company. We're very big on innovation. We're big on ideas. We're big on how we can innovate in a marketplace that's changing so rapidly. Okay. And we understand that transport is changing, but it's been highly regulated. There's more regulation coming in. We've always been ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So
we've always thought, how can we as a company stand out amongst all the big players? And over the years, the Lynn Fox, the Tolls, I've got many people that have obviously assisted in that journey.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I think you have to have a self-belief. It's about making a difference. Leadership is all about making a difference, and
absolutely.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think people are very uncomfortable with that term.
Yeah. And
it's not by job title, it's not by expecting leadership, it's not middle management. You know nothing at middle management.
Yeah.
You probably know nothing at project management stage.
Yeah.
Nothing about leadership.
Yeah.
And it's not until you have 15, 20 years minimum that you start to understand who you are and how you're style can affect people, and how that can help them grow. Because at the end of the day, what I think has helped me is that I'm their conduit. So they want to achieve a dream, they can do it within this industry.
Yeah.
But they just have to tell me what they want to do.
Okay.
And that can plug in. So, we've got kids that have been neurogeniuses and pharmaceutical geniuses, and they've come in and they can't get a job.
Yeah, right.
So we've employed them, and they love the industry, and they've kicked goals for the company. So it's about having a very diverse platform of people that work together to make this company buzz and
everything it is.
Everything it is and more.
And how many?
We've got a long journey. Well, they're not all here.
Yeah.
Probably about 40 people.
Okay.
And then we've got 160 trucks on the road daily.
Okay.
So it's quite a large fleet.
Yes.
And we work in silos, and we're sort of like the tigers in the grass, so we don't brand as much as other companies do. There's a specific reason for that.
Okay.
Because we are agile, and we can do a lot more work.
Okay.
And that obviously runs 7 days a week. So some companies do not want branding on their trucks. So we actually don't brand because of that. And we find that we work in lots of nucleuses around Australia.
Right.
Whereas people would not know Xtreme Freight were doing that work.
Right.
And that's the way we do it. And that's the way we've grown. And so obviously branding and marketing is a very big part of what other transport companies do.
Yeah.
For us, our growth has come from being the complete opposite, but still keeping up with our technology. And
well, it's a point of difference, isn't it?
It's very much a point of difference. So they may not, and they say, oh, Xtreme Freight, we didn't know you did that. So it's a general. It's been successful, and it's been a great strategy that I've had to sort of blend in with customers' requirements, and we're able to service a whole lot more industry.
Well, that focus on customers sounds like it's sort of the real
key.
Focus for you.
And people.
Yeah.
People are the machines that just keep going and going and going. So.
Yeah. All right, so a bit of a tricky one. What's the biggest leadership myth you think exists at the moment?
Oh, that is a tricky one. Oh, well, they always say a leader's born or made.
Yeah.
And I don't think either. And I've asked that question thousands of times. I don't even think people can label themselves as leaders. You can be a leader, but you don't articulate leadership.
Okay.
It's every day and every touch point in your life.
Yeah.
There's leaders everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't have to be running a multinational organisation. They don't have to be, seen as heads of state or government officials or anything like that. Leadership is in everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that people need to develop that. If they're given the title of leader, then obviously they're making an impact and they're making a difference on other people's lives.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't think that most people are comfortable with that. Although a lot of people are, and they say, can you do a chat on leadership, which I've done and which many people have done. Yeah. But I tend to think that it's an actual journey that we're on, and we still have so far to go, and we will still continue to learn. And there's a lot of people that think, yes, I'm the guru, I know everything.
Yeah.
They're not leaders, they never will be, because you've got a long way to go to the end of your life, and every day and every stepping stone will help you towards being that leader, or somebody that people look up to or want to follow. Yeah. And really it's a following.
Well, that's right.
So your companies are following, your friends are following. If you get it on a massive scale, and you obviously are considered in the corporate world a leader, but you can't be given that title lightly. I think it takes a very long time if you ever achieve it, and a lot of people don't.
And
what's your idea of it?
Well, I in my experience, I find that there's certain levels of people in leadership roles that are very driven to learn. So, and then there's leaders who are in positions, and it's almost as though they feel as though they have nothing left to learn. And generally, I find that's in that middle manager.
Yes, indeed.
They sort of got there, and they think, well, I'm a leader, so I don't need to, necessarily learn. And I think there's always a new opportunity. There's a new situation, a new person comes on board. There's always something new to learn, and it's such a big field. It's such a big thing, and there's
You've always got to have goals, really.
Yeah, you do.
So people can say to me, "You're very successful, Amanda. You've done this, this, and this." Well, to me, it's not success. I haven't even reached the pinnacle yet.
That's right.
I'm aiming for the next goal, the next step, the next learning experience.
Okay.
So you need a passion and a drive to continue to learn and to continue to grow.
That's right.
And I think true leaders are people that want to learn every day.
Yeah, that's right. And learn in different ways, learn from different people, learn different perspectives. Because I find that people also tend to have a view on leadership, and they hold very tight to that because they feel comfortable in it. Whereas there's always a different perspective.
And every challenge you have in life, no matter how difficult, and every job you have in your life will assist you down the track.
Yeah.
And it won't be evident at the time. But actually every experience you have helps you in your goals, your leadership, your strategies for the future. Yeah. It's always about aiming for more and better.
Yeah, that's right.
But also bringing people along with you so that they can actually achieve their dreams, because everybody is different.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you'd be surprised how many leaders never actually think about the goals and dreams of their teams and where their teams want to go. It's all about them.
I always think about that. I always have discussions with my team.
Yeah.
I always say, now, what do you think about that? Ultimately, yes, I gather that the important decisions at the end are left to you. But it's almost another way of forming that opinion, to know that we've got this strategy, this is our goal, this is where we're going, but what would you like to see out of that? And what do you want to personally achieve from that? And do you fit in with this? Or can you think outside the box within this space? So, it's constantly communicating with your staff, constantly learning about them, and that's the nature of the world. We ask the right questions, and we certainly get the right answers.
That's right. And do you think there's any particular leadership traits that you demonstrate?
Yes, I think, I know. I am a very humble individual.
Okay.
I often say that I was shy in my early career, and they all laugh because they know me as ostentatious, and I'm certainly out there, and I'm certainly beating my drum. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But you have to compete.
That's right.
But I'd say I have humility and I have discipline.
Okay.
And perseverance and persistence, because you have to have persistence, because when times are tough and when you're really nearly out, and I've been there many, many times, it's through getting through those times that have helped me come out the other side. And it's almost like business, they've been in it for maybe 10 years and then get tired, and you almost have to reinvigorate yourself and the organisation to change and to make sure that you're looking to the future. You want to do something else. Yeah. So unless you're passionate about your business, you should get out. I say to people, if you don't want to come to work in the morning, come and talk to me. Because it's no use spending most of your time in a job you dislike or with people you dislike. Life's too short.
Have to agree. You want people here who want to be here.
Yeah, and be careful of the advice you receive. Always be open to listen, but you almost have to back yourself, even in when you're copying increased criticism for a decision or something that you feel strongly about. And if you can justify that and get out the other side and they can see that it's actually working, then people start to naturally get on board. Yeah. They want to come and work for Xtreme Freight. They want to see, the team succeed, because that's what happens. You almost get a following like that. People say, you should come and work for Xtreme Freight because you get opportunities that you wouldn't get at other companies. And that's exactly what happens.
Well, that comes down to, I suppose, the view that you want to provide people with opportunity as well.
I do.
Yeah.
And if you provide people with opportunity, they, in turn, usually do the right thing and usually want to stay and succeed and grow.
Yeah. And what do you think some of the biggest leadership challenge is that's coming up for you?
The biggest one?
Yeah.
I think when you get to a certain level, and I don't mean this in any way, often there's the old saying that you can promote people beyond their level of competence.
Yeah, the Peter Principle, I think it's called.
And that's something that I'm always reticent of with my staff and with myself. Now, you may be good at 20 or 30 million, but you may not be that good at 50 million. And I've had lots of experience working with senior managers of all shapes and sizes, CEOs and MDs, that reach their level of competence. Now, it's not so much that, but it's the ability to ask for assistance and know your strategy, know your plan. And you can execute that plan really, really well if you get the right people on board to help you get there. And I think that even at 100 million, you certainly need to learn to delegate and have people that you can trust. And trust's a big factor in an organisation, unless you have that trust. But there's always external bodies that will help with that sort of size of business. And you need those people. You need those strong people with legal backgrounds and things like that to help generate more revenue, because you cannot possibly be an expert in every field. However, you can still be a visionary. You can you can still back yourself and know that strategy is going to work, but you do at a very different level find that they always say that your delegation increases but your time is less, and you often wonder how did that happen? Like, I'm so busy before, but now and busy's busy, but it is about learning what you do best and executing that and letting your team work around you to perform. Because I always say your team make you look good, and even at a senior level you need that senior input from various parts of the market, because you'll just never succeed or you'll fall over.
Do you find it easy to let go as a leader and delegate?
Often I do. I have to be honest. In the early days, I probably had a lot more difficulty with that. Now I don't so much, because I think as businesses get bigger, you have to, and you just don't have time to not, because you just cannot do everything. And people can't do everything on their own either. But if they make a mistake, then they're learning. As long as it's, and basically people know that I've got their back. So when it comes down to mistakes, which mistakes happen in every business, I don't care if you're not willing to admit it.
They do.
They happen in every business. I will be there to pick up that slack. So I think that's a learning stage, but it has to be monitored. It has to be, we talked about compounding earlier. So people have to be there to guide them. So that they don't repeat that mistake, or understand perhaps why they made that mistake. And there's many reasons for that. Some mistakes lead to glory too. They do.
And you mentioned earlier about networking. One of the things that I find is that leaders don't always have the focus on networking that I believe they should. How do you go about it? Do you have any particular tactics that you use, or approaches, strategies?
Well, networking's the most important thing. Without networking, you can't create other opportunities, either for yourself personally or your business.
That's right.
So, obviously, I have to mention the Supply Chain and Logistics Association of Australia. And I got involved probably 2010, 2011, and that was a good way to see what people were doing in other parts of the industry. and a good way to network. And networking is about having connections with different people from different facets of society, different views, and ensuring that you either can learn from them or they can learn from you, and you're helping each other, really. I mean, it's not always. I mean, I know I probably meet, and I make it a point of meeting at least 4 different people every month, whether it be for business, social, and those 4 contacts I might not see again for 2 years, or we may not have had that connection, or we may not have been. But I believe that we all will help each other one day. Yeah. So it's a conscious effort, because when you're running a large company and you're tired and you've got other priorities in your life, networking is essential. You do have to do it. You do have to get out, and it's a real effort sometimes. But for me, it's a natural. I love people. I love their stories. And I'm a natural networker. So I think it's being interested in what's going on in your industry, going to as many events and seeing how other people tackle problems. You're also learning at the same time. There's lots of associations, obviously, around Australia that are very interesting in what they do. So I try to have contacts with actually in HVR, and I mean there's multiple organisations, and there's Australian Business Chamber of Commerce, and there's so many interesting people that you find within working in each association, but you do have to consciously make time to meet new people every week. And I think this is another thing with the business. Customers will be there, but you do have to make an effort to make sure that you still have that connection, no matter how big you get. You have to have that connection with your customer and make sure that they know that you're thinking about them, or you're in the background. You haven't abandoned anyone, and I think that's the same with your networks. But I think every person should network regularly, or make it their business to go and network. And when I have the supply chain of Australia to look after, well, I can't help but network, because they're in every state in Australia, and they also have overseas affiliations.
Right, okay.
And it's the largest network of its kind. And so I can't help but network, because there's so many interesting groups within those committees and organisations across Australia that help me gain contacts both personally and professionally.
I think you mentioned a really good point about the networking, about actually being interested in other people and other businesses, rather than just approaching networking about thinking, what can I get?
It's always about what you can give.
Yeah, that's right.
It comes back in spades. And often I know many people who say, I don't know why you would do that, but because I want to. And 2 years later, you wouldn't believe some of those contacts that have, and it's very transient society, so people move on and they go to different places. So it's always good to have those networks, and they will come back and perhaps ask you for a favour again, or perhaps I possibly get more out of people than people ever get from me. It's about that learning experience, enrichment. People are interesting. They've all got a story to tell.
They do.
Every single one.
They do.
Very interesting.
So probably just one of the last questions I'd like to ask is, how do you define your success as a leader?
Go where others haven't travelled.
Okay.
I just... they have said to me that I'm missing a chromosome.
Okay.
But, it's a pretty brutal world. Especially in transport. And I've never been fearful of it. And never been fearful of anyone. And I think that's where I made my mark. And often, it's that understated. Are you in administration, or are you in marketing, or are you in sales? Or, No, I'm not. But I think it's not being fearful of what you don't know. Just go and learn about it, or go and ask the question. And the best people that I've met are people that other people wouldn't approach.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is people say no.
Yeah.
So I've always been fearless and bold. It's really helped in this industry. I can imagine it would have.
I can imagine it would have.
Certainly, yeah.
So, any last thoughts on leadership?
I think it's taking responsibility while others are making excuses.
Okay.
And being bold, and learning, a continual learning journey, and back yourself.
Yeah.
You only get one chance. You only get one life.
Yep.
Go and do what you want, and back yourself.
And if people want to find out more about you and about Xtreme Freight, where should they go?
Oh, they should go to
www.extremefreight.com.au.
You can ring our national number, 1300 367 849. And one thing you may not know is that we're Australian Trusted Trader, and we were one of the first transport companies in Australia to become, we're one of 100 companies certified Australian Trusted Trader.
Wow.
So we work really closely with Border Force, and I have really good affiliations with people there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we will continue to explore those avenues, and as the global economy changes, obviously security is becoming one of the big issues, and we think that sets our transport company apart from the others. So
fantastic.
Anyway, thank you, Julian.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And look forward to talking again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Synergen Leadership Podcast. I trust you found it interesting. A couple of things. If you could go online and leave a review of the podcast, that would be great. Really help us in spreading awareness of the podcast. Happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find. And if you want to shoot me through an email, julian@synergengroup.com.au. See you next time.